48-year-old ethical culture movement. That's the humanistic, religious, and educational movement inspired by the ideal that the supreme aim of human life is working to create a more just society. Our faith is in the capacity and responsibility of human beings to create a better world through the choices they make in their lives and in their personal relationships. Our commitment is to the worth and dignity of the individual and to treating each person so as to bring out their best. One aspect of strong relationships is looking out for one another. Please help us do so by keeping up to date on your vaccines and zooming in from home if you're not feeling your best. I will be presiding today, the 9th of February. My name is Nick Sanders, and my friends refer to me as he, him, and his. So I extend a special welcome to anyone visiting the Society for the first, or the second, or the third time. We would love to get in touch and talk with you about your interests. So if you would email us, we have a special email address, community@phillyethics.org. And we can talk. Each Sunday, as we begin our platform, we offer you a moment of quiet to take a few deep breaths, to center, to calm your mind, and to become more fully present. Now we have a space for personal sharing. We will have a time during the coffee hour for political and social concern announcements. But now we have time for anyone to share an expression of joy or concern about your life or the lives of your friends or loved ones. Would anyone like to speak about that? No concerns, or maybe they're all political and social. Our musician today, Tally, may now introduce herself and tell us about the music she will be playing. Please welcome Tally.
My name is Tali. I'll be doing a few songs for you today, starting with one. I was born and raised in Haiti, so we'll be sharing some pieces.
Could you speak a little into the mic or something? I can't really hear you. Louder?
Yeah, I'm from Port-au-Prince, Haiti, so I'll be sharing a few pieces for you from the Haitian tradition. This first one is called Messi James, thanking God, thanking nature, thanking for the rain, which allows the corn to grow, which allows the hungry children to eat, and so we dance. Messi Gade ki salanati puti Merci Gade comment mi sa fini danser Congo, à nous danser Petro. Papa bon Dieu qui dans le ciel la misère finie pour nous. Misère finie pour nous. Merci mon Dieu, gardez qui ça la mati côté pour nous. Merci mon Dieu, gardez comment la misère finit pour nous. La pluie tombée, maïs poussé, tout petit monde qui grand goût allez manger. Nous danser Congo. Nous danser Petro, oh mon Dieu qui n'a ciel la misère finie pour nous. Misère finie pour nous. Misère finie pour nous. Misère finie pour nous. Misère finie pour nous, yeah. Yeah, nous danser Congo. Danser Petro, Papa bon Dieu qui dans le ciel là, nous danser Congo, nous danser Ibo. Papa bon Dieu qui dans le ciel là, nous danser Congo, nous danser Petro. Papa bon Dieu qui dans le ciel là, misère finie pour nous. Misère finie pour nous, misère finie pour nous, misère finie pour nous.
Thank you, Jules. This morning we're pleased to be hearing from Lunise, Jules. Lunise Jules is a native of Haiti, an economic development specialist, and a poet. This morning she will discuss her efforts to implement humanitarian programs for vulnerable populations in Central America and the Caribbean. The title of her talk is Humanitarian Services to the Arts. Now, after her talk, we'll have a few announcements, and then will be a time for questions and answers, or questions and comments. So please hold your questions till then. Now, please welcome Lunise Jules.
Good morning, everyone. I would like to thank Ethical Society and my friend Christian Hayden for this invitation. It means a lot to me. And it is with pleasure that I'm standing here this morning to share with you some of my experience in international cooperation in my own country, Haiti, and mostly in the field of community development, income generation, and humanitarian assistance. I was born and raised in Haiti. I studied political science at the University of Haiti, specializing in international relations. In 1988, I was offered a scholarship by Eastern University in Wayne, Pennsylvania, then Eastern College, and moved from Port-au-Prince to Philadelphia with my whole family. I graduated from there with an MS in Economic Development. I must say that we spent more years than expected in Philadelphia because of the political situation in Haiti that was very unstable after a coup d'etat against the first elected government after 30 years of dictatorship. So 7 years later, we returned home. I never regretted that decision to go back. Not at all, not one time. And one of the reasons is that when I look back, the period I returned in 1995, the period from 1995 to 2010 was the right time to do it, considering that instability, poverty, and criminality have been increasing starting in 2010 after the earthquake that changed our lives. Indeed, in 2010, a 7.0 magnitude earthquake struck Haiti and devastated the capital city. This event marked a turning point in my life. I nearly died inside the biggest supermarket in town that collapsed in front of me. I was in the parking lot trying to enter, was going to shop, and then all of a sudden I felt everything moving, didn't understand what was happening. And miraculously, I will spare you that part of the story, but it was a miracle. I felt somebody holding my hand and taking me back to the street, and I fought with this person, went back inside, this person held me back, and I saw the whole supermarket collapsing with everyone inside. Sometimes I still hear the noise and the screaming. And while I was living that nightmare, my children were inside my own house down the hill, and that house also collapsed. And my children, Natalie and Tina, present today, were inside, and then my husband also. They were spared, thank God. While a lot of our family, members of our extended family and friends passed. I was saying that this period was a turning point in my life. Before that, I used to work as a financial person within the economic development field, helping people with generation of income, coaching entrepreneurs, being a very tough one, going around trying to be successful, and being successful actually. But my career also took another turn as I started devoting more time to humanitarian assistance than before. The funny thing is that I was myself a disaster. I was a disaster after living everything I saw that day. But also I was an empty nester. All my 5 children. And I was also a newly divorced woman. I felt like someone who had lost everything. I was a disaster myself. But in Port-au-Prince at that time, the demand for qualified resources in the humanitarian field was higher than ever. So I got more involved in international cooperation and got higher responsibilities with a big part of my budget devoted to humanitarian assistance and with the obligation to lead teams with diverse cultural backgrounds. I remember at the time I had under my supervision people from Europe, from Canada, from Haiti, from America, and it was a melting pot inside of a beautiful thing. And I felt the challenge was heavy on me, and it was a time. The temptation was to become more exigent with myself as a woman, as a Haitian black woman. International cooperation is also a very highly competitive world. So the temptation I was saying was to become more exigent with myself and everyone else, until one day I realized that the disaster was all around me and within me. So I needed to extend compassion to the beneficiaries of my work. I needed to extend compassion to my employees, whose realities were not different from the realities of those we were serving. I needed to extend compassion to myself also. How could I help anyone if I could not be kind to myself, Lunise? A guidance through this period came from reading C.S. Lewis' book, The Four Loves. At the end of my reading, it was clear to me that compassion was not a feeling that would come over me, invade my life, and make me feel good toward everyone. I understood it as the accomplishment of well-intentioned actions that would feed my relationship with myself and with others. Well-intentioned actions that bring well-being. Love is intentional. It produces actions of kindness that bring relief to the pain. Relief to the pain I sympathize with. If I am sensitive enough to be able to put myself in someone else's shoes, I need to go further and take actions that can bring change and relief. And this became my motto till today. I needed to make decisions and I needed to make actions that demonstrated compassion toward myself, toward the needs. And I would put myself, I would name myself. And this is what I did. I'll share with you what I did. First thing, I embraced the fact that I was sad. I was sad. I accepted it for a fact. I decided not to pretend that I was strong. I was not strong. I was pretending. And pretending being strong, the result was that people would give me heavy load to carry. Load that I could not really carry because I was pretending. And then I looked forward for an educated help. I returned to the cabinet of my advisor. I started a yoga class and I joined the Rotary Club because I needed friends around me. I also accepted to make difficult conversations about my future. There were conversations I would not accept to make, not even with myself. I accepted to go through these conversations. I accepted to face difficult decisions that would shape my life forever. In fact, I accepted to be responsible, meaning to be free, because to be free is to be responsible. I accepted to be a free woman, a person with a clear mind, making decisions that are good for herself, not to penalize herself. I remember how happy my family, my mother, my parents, my brothers and sisters, I remember how happy we were when growing up, singing together, playing piano, playing guitar, telling stories, playing theater at church, and I was their writer and stage director. So I turned to them. I hired a guitarist, one of the best in town, who would come every week in my house to help me improve my skills as a guitarist. I bought myself a sophisticated Yamaha piano and went back to playing piano. I would be playing even in the middle of the night. Finally, I went back to writing short stories and poems and published them on my blog and Facebook. Every newsletter of my work was a piece of literature. My experience, my everyday experience, became raw materials for my writing. It became part of the process of my relaxation after difficult moments of concentration, fighting the consequences of our recent natural disaster, but also of previous unresolved political issues that I was very conscious of. Last but not least, I decided and made big steps to be closer to my children, to know them, and to listen to them, because they had become adults I could trust. And I got closer to what I call today my cycle, my circle of trust. And it has been a blessing. No wonder, no need to tell you that those decisions and actions brought more relief and satisfaction in my life. I found new friends, writers and storytellers like me. I became friends with my children. This made me a better change agent at my workplace and a better leader. And I'm telling you the truth. But I had to make decisions and actions in my profession, at workplace, in my workplace also. My decision to take care of myself was not just for the sake of taking care of myself. It was to make sure that I could demonstrate compassion toward others. Because I experienced suffering. This was not a guarantee that I could make the next step, which was to take action. To take actions to bring change. And at work, my team and I, we worked together in the business of feeling compassion and demonstrating it with available resources that were made available to us. And what helped is that we were also aligned with the core values of the place where we were working, which were justice, love, and mercy. Sometimes this meant challenging the status quo, and Lord knows I did. This meant challenging a few principles. This also meant going higher to get approval, and sometimes I got in trouble for doing that. I remember one time I jumped all the way to the border in Canada to change a few things. It meant facing resistance. It meant advocating. It meant making alliances, new alliances. It meant opening myself to investigate new places I had never visited before. I remember as if it was today, one case among many that I will share with you. She was a young girl named Jesula. That was her name. Jesula was an orphan who became blind, mute, paralyzed after a terrible illness, and she wasn't taken to the doctor. So she became worse and worse and became blind and paralyzed. After the earthquake, my team and I discovered Jesula curled up on herself, smelling bad, abandoned inside a tent in the middle of a camp of internally displaced people that we and the mayor's office, we were going to get rid of. We were about to demolish that place. And there was this child wrapped up in rags. We didn't know she was there. You can imagine what could have happened. Bulldozers, fires. She was left abandoned by people she was living with. She was not declared to the office of the mayor. She was not counted among our beneficiaries. She was not supposed to be taken care of. She was abandoned. When I saw her, I felt so weak. I didn't know how to face that. I couldn't believe my own eyes. The first proposition was to find a room for her in an orphanage. My team and I, including the representative of the mayor's office, we refused as a block. Instantly. She had gone through so much, too much, and needed a specialized place where she would be a person. L'Arche Haiti, L'Arche is an international community that is worldwide known for including people with handicap and including them in society as a member of the community. And that's what they're all about all over the world. And fortunately, there is one chapter in Haiti. We immediately called the president. The problem is that to get accepted as a member of L'Arche is a long process. But within a minute, she was accepted. And in a few days, we obtained a space for her where we could build her own place, her own room, with another room for someone who would assist her. And the board of my institution, all the way in Canada, they sent me that message. All the money we were spending, all the work we were doing, it was just for this child. To finally find a place and to know that we have her back. And today, she's living with L'Arche Haiti, where she's called a friend, where she has a life. While we were debriefing this situation around the table, it was myself and my team and the representative of the mayor's office, which is a military man, very disciplined, very organized, and he would be always present to make sure that we had everything, but always very distant, but very polite. But that day, during the debriefing, I noticed that he had tears in his eyes. I didn't understand what was going to happen, and he asked me to let him say a few words, and you would never imagine that came out of this next one. He said, during this earthquake, I lost my house, I lost my wife, I lost my baby boy, I lost my sister. Everything scrambled while I was working. And here he was, moved, victims standing for victims. That's what we were. And that's what we call a community. And at the end, when I got home, I was so contracted. And I felt I needed to relax, to get it. I turned to my writing, and I wrote this poem for Jules that I'm going to read to you. I tried to translate it. I don't know if it is big enough for everyone to read it. I will read it in French to you, because I will spare you by reading a poem in English. Pour Jésus là. Chante pour elle, oiseau, chante pour elle à ma place au lever du jour. Le temps, tel le maître chanteur, a volé ma voix. Saute, cabri de ma savane, saute avec elle en plein soleil ou en pleine lune. Ronge les buissons épineux de sa route. Libère-toi pour toujours, car faut enchanté. Libère-toi. Un enfant spécial arrive. Le maître des lieux vient de lui ouvrir la voie. Courez, montagne, courez à sa rencontre. Courez, collines de mon pays. Embrassez son rêve d'être un cerf-volant. Raconte pour elle, petite fille, raconte pour elle le départ de sa bosse avec la fumée qui emporte les voix de la foule médisante. Troublez nos nuits fraîches, troublez nos nuits grenouilles étourdies. Rappelez-nous l'histoire des vulnérables oubliés de chez nous. Célèbre avec elle, amie, célèbre pour elle, célèbre pour une nouvelle amie l'ajout de couvert à la table de l'Arche. Pour Jésus. More recently, working for another institution in Port-au-Prince still, while we were assisting the population living in hot zones, in red zones we call them, these are zones where with high level of criminality in Port-au-Prince. I remember foreign journalists would come into my office asking me to explain how we were able to deliver and attain our objectives despite all the shooting and kidnapping. We were just still doing training, reinforcing women's capacity financially, distributing food, getting involved in all kind of activities, and we were making it. It was happening. They would not understand. What they did not get is that my employees were part of the community, and they felt that they were in positions to act, too often with limited resources. Of course, they were exposed. Some of them were even displaced, and I had to provide for them. There were times when I would have to spend nights on the phone calming them because there were too many shootings around where they were. I would be on the phone crying with them. But this did not stop them from acting. I remember one of them taught me what was inside of them with one sentence. He told me, Madame Lunise, the word is a fight remains a fight. The fight is ours. And every time I would go to the office, I would tell them, a fight remains a fight. A fight remains a fight. We understood we were in the fight. It was their community. Standing together is what makes them a community. And that was the answer. And sometimes I would not be able to explain that. Last year, I came here in Philly to live with my children. I admit, I came in search for a refuge. I would say a refuge because I was tired with the hectic life of living and fearing for my life, fearing for the life of my employees I could not protect, fearing for the lives of the community, people in the community I was serving. However, I am realizing here today that here also we are not at peace. We're not at peace either. So I feel like I've been running, and everywhere it's following me. The call for action is following me. I can see it, I can feel it. The tempest is raging, and members of the communities are all on the same boat that has to sail free. From experience, I can tell you, this is not going to be easy. And it is time to choose to be a community. There is no other way out. It is time to be a community. And to be a community means compassion. The feeling to make actions, the decision to be together and to make actions to bring change. Compassion is the way out. This will require that we reassess our values. We will need to reassess our values, our positions, our capacity to be agents of changes for our society, our capacity to identify with those who suffer and take actions. There is no such thing as love with no action. There is no such thing as community without solidarity. And guess what? What happens to one will happen to everyone. When there is danger, no one is protected. And this is the time to reassess our value. This is the time to make choice for compassion, for love in action. And we'll find them. Thank you.
Thanks very much for that presentation. Now, Tilly will play her second musical selection.
That was my mom, by the way. This song is called Keposé, which is clear for a calm heart. And I guess the English equivalent would be peace of mind. May I say, Take me to the mountain where love has made itself so at home that I may be free. Take me to where the ocean can wash away my pain. I want to dance on the clouds and find peace of mind. And like the first song, all my songs that I sing are written, and we are imagining and working towards a world where all children can eat, right? So, this is I think of this as a prayer. Piti piti, tu piti, tu piti. Mamache, kote mwale, wafuti dine. Tête chargée, tellement chargée, toi chargé même. Vos craintes, la bellesse, toute femme, pas qu'à dormir même, pas tellement exigeant si tout allait qu'il est. C'est mon veillon, réponse possible qui reste prier là, qui sous tête moi. Côté l'amour, la école, on calibé. Mais moi côté la mer, qu'elle avait tous les mains. La gueule sous tête moi, côté l'amour, la école, on calibé. When les danser sous tête nuage, quelle pose imagine.
Beautiful, beautiful. Thank you. Friends and members of the Ethical Society provide the support we need to continue our mission. Members in particular demonstrate this responsibility when they prioritize our community with the finite time and resources that they have. To contribute financially with the people you are now passing by. Yes, if you want to contribute otherwise, then please use our website. We have a donate button on our website pages. And also, of course, you can just bring money here and drop it off at the office. Well, you can also get involved by, contribute by getting more involved with the announcements you hear during our platform and those in our bulletin. Or you can speak to me about being more involved. Thank you for whatever involvement and support you're able to provide. Our society endeavors to take concrete actions to promote social justice. Our Ethical Society member, Eric Young, is giving it this week's Ethical Action Report and a reflection on ending racism.
Good morning. For those who don't know me, my name is Julia. I'm the community liaison here. And also for those who don't know, we are in the process of putting our old Ethical Action Committee back together. The email is going to be going out very soon, so anyone who is interested in officially joining the committee or just being on the mailing list, come find me and I can add you.
Good morning, everybody. My name is Eric Young, and I'm a member of the Ending Racism Task Force. And I had the privilege of making a couple announcements and then the reflection of what we're about. The announcement I have, one from Kate, is that the City Council on Tuesday is having hearings, or public hearings, on affordable housing in Philadelphia. I'm also part of a group that is working to end the blight of homelessness in this city. It is at an all-time high. And as you go, as I came down the street, I saw 3 people just lying on a grate. I know a couple of them. They have some problems. They don't want to go to a shelter. They don't trust them. But it's kind of a slow death. And I wonder today, this crazy day with all these, with all the Eagle fans in here, that unfortunately not everybody is going to be nice. So I just wonder about them, but I think this is something we can deal with. So affordable housing is part of the answer, so people want to go to these public hearings. Tuesday, 11 a.m. at City Council, room 400. The second announcement, I asked Sharon to make an announcement about Camp Linden and the trees, please.
We're having a party this Wednesday.
Sharon, can you speak on the microphone?
Sure. All right, this Wednesday, Camp Linden is going to be sponsoring a celebration of the birthday of the trees, or New Year's of the trees. And that's going to be a celebration with lots of fruity food and klezmer music. If anybody doesn't know what klezmer music is, it's Eastern European Jewish wedding music. And it's the kind of music that forces you to get up and dance. And it's going to be circle dancing, nobody needs partners, and it should be a lot of fun. We hope you'll join us.
Thank you. So my reflection, this is Black History Month, African American History Month, so I wanted to add this one instance from Black history. In 1954, Brown versus the Board of Education was a case that forced